I wasn't really expecting much going into Team Sonic Racing, but after trying it out recently, I'm glad to report that it is certainly an amazing game. The whole team mechanic is very unique, and the tracks themselves are just as enjoyable. Some of them do tend to blend together in my mind, but for the most part, they're all loads of fun with tons of creative elements. So that's why today, I'll be ranking the top 10 Team Sonic Racing tracks. This list is based on each track's layout, what kind of obstacles they contain, and anything else that makes them super. And before I begin, don't forget to spin-dash that subscribe button. Doing so will help more people to find this video, and it really helps me out a lot. Now then, it's time to take off faster than the speed of sound, so let's get to the countdown. Number 10. Lost Palace. Inspired by Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes, this track will take you on an adventure through numerous different environments. The majority of this track takes place in some ruins, but you'll also drive across a beach, and even past some waterfalls. There's several jumps along the way, and a corkscrew in the middle, so there's a good variety of course elements here as well. What I really like about this course is all of the tight turns. This is a game where drifting is really fun, so having to make all of these difficult maneuvers just to navigate the track makes for a really good time. The theming on this track is also incredible. The ruins in the background look so cool! I just wish they played a more integral role in the stage itself, but it's whatever. Probably the best part about this track is getting to smash through all of the crab meats at the beginning. Haha, take that you mechanical crustaceans! Honestly, there's not much else to say about this track. There's definitely a lot less going on here than some of the tracks higher up on this list, but this one's got plenty of charm that I just couldn't let go unnoticed. Number 9. Turbine Loop. This track is inspired by another level from Sonic Heroes, Final Fortress. And just like last time, it does a great job of replicating the source material. The track itself is pretty easy for the most part. A good chunk of the turns aren't very sharp, and the road is just wide enough that you don't have to worry about bumping into the walls too much. There's some spots where you can low trick to give yourself some extra speed, and there's plenty of boost panels to help you out as well. You also have to look out for
all those Eggman robots,
but they're pretty harmless in the long run. It's honestly a pretty simple course considering it's one of the last ones in the game, but that doesn't mean there isn't fun to be had here. All of the background elements look really cool and do a great job of adding to the theme, not to mention the music is especially banging. I always appreciate a good Sonic Heroes remix from time to time, and this one does not disappoint. This is definitely more of an atmospheric track than an action-packed one, but even so, it's still one of the best ones out there. Number 8. Hidden Volcano. Well, would you look at that? It's totally not Mario Kart 8's Bowser's Castle! All jokes aside, it's probably just a coincidence that both games have giant magma monsters that take turns smashing one of two paths with their fists. Right? This track is a combination of an ice level and a lava level. There's some parts where the track is covered in ice, and others where you're surrounded by lava. It's an incredibly novel idea, but holy crap is it hard! There's so many tight turns you have to make, and the overabundance of ramps doesn't make it any easier. This track severely punishes you if you haven't mastered drifting yet, and it can be quite annoying if you're a noob at this game. If this list was solely based on the hardest tracks in Team Sonic Racing, this would definitely be number 1. But even with its difficult nature, this course still does a lot of things right. For one, I really like all of the branching paths in the middle. It helps to keep the track from being stale by being more varied. And just like all the other courses, the set pieces and atmosphere are really spectacular, further adding to this level's personality. Although this track can be very difficult to play, I still think that it's one of the better ones out there. Number 7. Mother's Canyon. I don't know whose mother owns this canyon, but whoever they are, they certainly know how to make a good racetrack. The course starts off with this huge jump off the side of a cliff, which gets you a lot of airtime. It's really cool being able to trick in succession so many times, and it makes for one hell of a way to start off a track. After that is this pink energy road that's stretched out over some lake. It's visually stunning, and it's definitely the most unique part of the track due to how different it looks compared to everything else. This part of the course doesn't have too much going on, as it's only a couple of basic turns, but it certainly does get some style points for looking so distinct. Then there's this cave that's filled with paint goop, so you have to drive on the walls, and there's all these dash panels, and it's so cool! The entire track is really exhilarating, as it's constantly throwing something new at you. There's so much variety here that each part feels like a completely different course, and I can assure you that that isn't a bad thing. This course is definitely a little bit more basic when it comes to the overall layout, but the amount of different things you'll experience here make this track one to remember. Number 6. Pinball Highway. I've gotta be honest with you guys, there's a lot of casino-themed tracks in this game, and I can never remember them all because they all look the same. But if there's one that stands out above the rest, Pinball Highway is definitely it. The track layout is incredibly diverse, with so many twists and turns and jumps. There's even one part where you get to drive across an actual pinball machine, complete with bumpers, pinballs, and... this is just Waluigi Pinball. Okay, that's the second comparison I've made to Mario Kart already, but clearly there aren't any more. One of the things I like most about this course is all of the bright lights and fun colors. I'm definitely getting Casino Night Zone vibes from this level, and everyone knows that you can't go wrong with Casino Night Zone. I also really like the part where you drive through the tunnel, and there's this really long conveyor belt, and there's all these dash panels, and oh, it's so good! If you were to play only one of the casino-themed tracks from Team Sonic Racing, this one is definitely your best bet, as it's much more creative than all the rest. Number 5. Ice Mountain. And here we have the obligatory snow level. Seriously, it seems like all of these games just have to have a snow level. It's almost like there's no escaping it. Anyways, the gimmick for this track is that the road is constantly splitting up into multiple different paths. All of the different routes feel pretty different from one another, so there's lots of fun in trying to figure out the fastest way to go. Each path has loads of big jumps and icy obstacles, so no matter which way you go, it's going to show you a good time. And the physics for the most part are actually pretty tolerable. There are a few spots that feel worse than others, but it's a lot more bearable than most ice courses, which is a win in my book. Towards the end of the track, you get to hop onto a boat and drive through some shipping containers. I know it doesn't exactly look like it, but this is what you call peak level design. This track's so well designed that I can't think of a single thing that I'd want changed. The layout is fun, the theming is great, and the obstacles have just the right amount of obnoxiousness. What more could you ever ask for? Plus, the split path mechanic really reminds me of Ice Ice Outpost from Mario Kart 8. Oh come on, Sega! Why did you have to copy everything from Nintendo? Could you really not come up with a single original idea? Could you? Alright team, the boss man wants us to squirt out another Sonic racing game so that he can buy another yacht. So, does anyone have any ideas for what we should do for the tracks? Sir, I think I've already found the perfect blueprint to base our tracks on. This is just Mario Kart 8. Yes sir, that's correct. But think about how long it would take to come up with original ideas, not to mention how expensive it would be. But if we were to take a couple Mario Kart tracks, change them up a bit, and disguise them as our own work, who would be the wiser? Sounds great. So make sure you get that game up by tomorrow, and I'm just gonna go stand over here and forget that Billy Hatcher exists. Number 4. Market Street. What's this? A track based on Spagonia from Sonic Unleashed? Now that's what I'm talking about. This level brings me so much joy that I can't even begin to describe how it feels. There's so much going on that there's no way you can experience it all in just 3 laps. It's that awesome. There's tons of shortcuts and ramps spread out all over the course, with some of them being more hidden than others. There's also plenty of speed boosts along the way, so you're always driving at an incredibly fast speed. And then there's this part where you're driving on the side of a wall and all this water shooting out? Or what about the part where you get to drive on the roofs of the buildings and dodge all of the chimneys and other crap on top of them? And who could forget the part where you bounce off a literal hot air balloon and it's just so good! This course is literally everything I want out of a virtual racetrack. Just like the last level, there isn't a single thing that I would want to see changed because it's just that awesome. Everything about this track is absolutely phenomenal, and because of that, it's one that I could play every day for the rest of my life. Okay, well, maybe not every day, but you get what I'm saying. Number 3. Boo's House. No, not that Boo. Or that one. Or Or that one. This track is one of the most elaborate things I've ever seen in a video game before. The layout for this course is insane, and is frankly one of the most memorable parts of the entire game. The majority of this level takes place underground inside a temple. The road twists and turns in all directions to the point where you don't even know which way is up. Then it all leads to this giant room with several rows, and you have to carefully pick which ones you drive through, as some of them occasionally spit fire. This part can be kind of annoying, as it isn't always clear as to which paths are safe or not, but as long as you think ahead, it isn't too bad. After that is this long, twisty road where giant battle axes are swinging at you and King Boom Boo's flying around, and then you jump into this giant energy ball that's located in space which warps you back to the finish line? The ending to this track is so crazy to the point where it makes literally no sense, and I don't even care. It feels like the developers had way too much fun designing the most complicated racetrack in history, and then had no clue how to end it because of how brain-tingling it was. Either way, this track is one that always sticks out in my mind, and is likely one that I'll never forget. Number 2. Frozen Junkyard. Well, that's a lie right there, because this level is the opposite of junk. This track is not only one of my favorites from Team Sonic Racing, but from any other game I've ever played. That's how awesome this track is. It starts off with this huge icy loop that sends you into a deep, dark cave. From there, you can break through an ice wall to reveal a secret path, or take the route filled with dash panels. Then the road twists in a way that you can either drive on top of it or beneath it. It's extremely cool, as both paths feel completely different and offer such drastic viewpoints. Then there's this part with tons of ramps and opening and closing doors and so much racing goodness. Then at the end, the Death Egg Robot is shooting at you with lasers, so you have to go in between his attacks and escape by traveling through an electric tunnel back towards the finish line. This track is at the point where it doesn't even feel like a race anymore. It feels like an adventure. Every turn, every jump, every pebble on the road offers up something even better than the last. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how thrilling it is because there's so much going on. We're approaching F-Zero levels of track design, and that's when you know you've got something special. This track is really amazing, and is one that everyone needs to play right now. Seriously, go buy this game right now if you don't have it already, and play this track. I can assure you that it is 100% worth it. Number 1. Sky Road. What do you get when you cross a road and a sky? Well, you get the best gosh damn track in Team Sonic Racing, that's for sure. This track is straight up magical. It has everything I've already talked about and then some. It seriously doesn't even compete with any of the other tracks because it's that well designed. The course starts out with a huge jump that will lead you up into the clouds. From there, the road twists and turns for a bit before launching you off hot air balloons. Then the track splits up and there's all these speed boosts and everything becomes a rush. Then you fall back towards the ground while going insanely fast. But then you actually go so far that you go underground and have to dodge giant battle axes and poison goop. It all happens so fast that it isn't long before you're back at the finish line, knowing that this is what true happiness feels like. There's so many elements to this course that I couldn't possibly describe them all in this video. In fact, there's so much stuff that I'll usually forget a few things. That makes it so that each playthrough feels like a completely new experience. Maybe that's a little weird, but I don't mind. In the end, it's really no competition. Sky Road is undoubtedly the best track in Team Sonic Racing. And you know what's funny? The whole driving through the clouds and tricking off of bouncy platforms almost reminds me of Cloud Top Cruise from Mario Kart 8. Ah! Team, I've got terrible news. Nintendo found out that we copied all of their ideas and now they're pissed. What are we going to do, sir? Well, there's only 2 things left we really can do. 1, we don't make a new Knights game. And 2, run away! Right behind you, sir. Team Sonic Racing might not be the best racing game out there, but I promise it's worth it for these tracks alone, so go play them right now. But before you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that, thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you all again real soon. Goodbye.